What Digimon do you associate with Christmas? I remember being, 5, 7 years old? Young, stupid. And I just seen an ad on TV for a Magnamon toy that transforms from the golden Digi-Egg into Magnamon. And I thought that was, maybe still is, the coolest shit I had ever seen. So, of course, I went and wrote it on my Christmas list on Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. There was no hope of my parents getting this, and I'm glad that the next day when it wasn't under the tree, I didn't kick up a fuss. I already have enough embarrassing memories to keep me up at night. I did not need another. When I asked you guys what Digimon you thought of, you brought up some things I'd never even considered, like Frigimon is practically Frosty the Snowman. Moosemon, yeah, I can see why you'd associate that with Christmas and why it should be in the game. It's on my wishlist, Bandai. Moosemon, add it to the game. If you think about the Digimon TCG, of course you're probably going to think of Christmas Hybrid, and I could make a new Christmas Hybrid list, but that doesn't feel like it would be unique enough. Some of you even said Christmas Agumon, which yes, there's an Agumon who wears a Christmas hat, and that's a Christmas Agumon. Very clever, I'm watching you. But the Vital Bracelet brought us something that I just couldn't look past for making a list, and that is Cherrymon. They made a full Christmas Cherrymon for like the little raid system that they do. And I mean, yeah, Christmas trees, Christmas. That's perfect. Welcome to Guess from the Recycle Bin, Cherrymon edition. So the rules are changing, so we'll go through them real quick. I start with 100 points. If I put in a non-thematic Digimon, I lose 2 points. If I put in a non-thematic option or tamer, I only lose 1 point now. People said it was a bit harsh losing 2 for Digimon that didn't have canonical tamers or options, so I understand. If I do put in a thematic egg, that's still 1 bonus point. No points deducted for non-thematic eggs. Cherrymon first made an appearance in the TCG in BT2, and it was level 5 that had Blocker, which was pretty unique. So when we got the BT11 Cherrymon, which had kind of a redirection ability, it still felt very much similar to the original, but with kind of a new spice to it. And we could run just 4 and 4 of these Cherrymon, but I'm actually going to drop one of the BT2 Cherrymon because having 4 blockers in a deck isn't really necessary. So having the redirection at 4, perfect. Having 3 blockers, cool. We're actually going to run 1 Agumon. Somebody did point out, this guy looks like a Christmas tree. He's kind of already got like the lights on him and everything. His head at the top looks like a star. So we're gonna throw one of him in. That's gonna cost us some points. But since the theme is Christmas, not necessarily Cherrymon, but Cherrymon Christmas, I'm not gonna subtract 2 points for putting in this Agumon. I'm only gonna subtract 1. I think that's fair. Let me know if it's not. As for 6s, somebody said that Gigimon is kind of like a Santa Claus, and Gigimon can digivolve from Cherrymon as long as he has like Pandamon for some reason. I don't get why that is, but I'm not going to ask questions. I'm going to run this at 2, and I love this card. He's going to help us in a few ways, just because of the ability to play out tamers and, you know, spam out a board of Digimon. That feels kind of like Christmassy as well, because you're getting a gathering of people, Digimon together. That's cool, I like that. The other level 6 that I want to run is Ebonwumon, and this is like a really cool card that's just always on the cusp of kind of being good. You Digivolve, you get to suspend a thing, gain some memory, and then if your opponent's Digimon want to unsuspend at any point during their turn, they have to trash a card from their hand. That seems really cool to be able to try and play into like a control style deck, and Ebonwumon is just like Cherrymon but on a turtle, so he's already got the baubles, just slap some Christmas lights on him and he's done. That sorts the 6s, and for a level 7, we will run 1 Quartzmon. We're trying to suspend a lot of things with Ebonwumon, and look, if you get Quartzmon out and kind of control for a little while, get out in Ebonwumon, they might try and get rid of the Quartzmon, but then they still have to trash a bunch of cards if they've got suspended Digimon just to unsuspend to try and attack you. So I think that works hand in hand. We're only going to run 1 of that. The level 4s are where things get a little bit interesting. I did want to run Woodmon. I think that that's the most like logical flow on from Cherrymon. But the problem that I saw with that is that we've already got 3 blockers. The only other Woodmon that we have are blockers. It's just a lot of blocker, and I don't think that we need that. Instead, we're going to use our level 4s to do more for us. Let's actually start with Togemon. Now, Togemon from the latest set lets you suspend it to play out a tamer for 3 less. The Heritable of Togemon as well is going to help us digivolve into Digimon like a Bonwumon. Just because he has such a high cost to evo anyway, making it a bit cheaper, you might be able to keep it your turn when you suspend something and gain the memory back. Togemon can digivolve into Cherrymon, so no points lost for that one. For the next level 4, and this can digivolve into Cherrymon as well, I wanted to run 3 of the Kogamon that gives Retaliation as the Inheritable. I only have 1 for some reason. I don't know where the other ones I had went. I'm pretty sure that I had many of these guys and they're just all missing. Instead, I'm going to supplement 2 of them with the Ninjamon. And look, this can also digivolve into Cherrymon, so it's not going to change how I draw my evolution line. I do like the addition of Ninjamon because it means that if we do digivolve into Gigimon and play out a tamer, ow, claws in my spine. Who asked you? If you can digivolve into Gigimon with Ninjamon in the Inheritables, then you're going to possibly be able to play out a tamer, activating the Inheritable ability, suspending something, and then you can swing into that Digimon to get the Digimon effect relatively safely, without having to worry about too much, maybe a blast evolution or something, but you should be able to take something off the board and get some things on the board for yourself and set up for maybe another level 7, another level 6. The last level 4 that we're going to run is Dokugumon, and that's the spider that's pulling at its hair. You might think that that's not very Christmassy, and I can see why you'd think that, but let me explain. Specifically in the Ukraine, they have a Christmas tale, kind of similar to Charlotte's Web in a way, where a family couldn't afford to decorate their tree, so a spider decorated it for them. And in the Ukraine, they put on ornaments on their tree to reflect this, and got little spider ornaments and stuff. And I think that that's really cool, actually, and that I wanted to kind of reflect that in this list. So while this might not be in the Evo line, I'm only going to take 1 point away for each of these Digimon. Down to the 3s, we're going to continue with the spiders because we have Kodokugumon, also known as Cody on this channel. We're running both of the spiders because they have really cool suspension abilities, which will help with a Bonwumon keeping stuff suspended. We're also going to run the new Secret Rare Palmon because it has such a really good start of main effect. The Inheritable is good too. With the start of main, being able to just point at something and say, when that becomes suspended on my turn or your turn, you lose 2 memory, is really cool. And it works well with the spiders that we're running. Works pretty well with a lot of things, actually. So running this at 4, digivolves into Togemon, Togemon into Cherrymon, Cherrymon into Bonwumon. We've got a pretty nifty line there. And I wanted to run some Mushroomon, actually, to kind of continue on from the Ninjamon line, but I couldn't really fit it in. Instead, for the last level 3 that we're going to run, I'm running the Pomumon from EX2, EX3? EX3. The reason that I'm doing this is because, let's say you start your turn on 3 memory. If you had 4, that's even better, but let's say you've got your memory setter out, you start at 3. You move out the Palmon, point at one of your opponent's Digimon and say, that gets the, when it's suspended, lose 2 memory effect. Play out the Pomumon, and then you can play out Cody. Cody is going to suspend the Pomumon, so you can suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon, and if you suspend the one that you targeted with Palmon's effect, they lose 2 memory, which means that something that originally cost you 6 only ended up costing you 4. If your turn 1 is just Digivolve into Palmon, play Mimi, works out great. Talking about tamers, I wanted to run Ken in this list because there's that episode in O2 where the other Digidestin come over to his house and Ken's mum is like so happy that she's practically in tears. Don't know who that could relate to. Could be anybody, not me. But it's just too hard to go past Mimi. She's such a good memory setter. She can accelerate your plays. And I think that running 2 of this is a good option. There's also the BT5, Izzy, and Mimi. We're gonna run 2 of that because with all the suspension effects, it's likely that we're gonna be able to keep our opponent's Digimon suspended, or at least one of them. And that means that we can gain 2 memory at the start of our turn. if we decide to attack with a level 5 for some reason, we could do the gacha swing, which kind of feels Christmassy because, you know, you're going to find out what you get. But we don't run that many 6s. So that seems like a risky play. The effect of Mimi and Joe, though, is probably one of the better ones. If you have something suspended, gain a memory. If your opponent has something suspended, gain a memory. And then if you delete something with a green Digimon, you can suspend the tamer to draw a card. So running this at 3 seems like a really good idea. We can play all of these tamers for 1 if we use the Togemon effect, and we can play them for free with Digimon. We do lose some points for that, but thanks for the rework, not too many. Now for options, we will run HBD because it's just too good to like look past, especially with Bonwoomon's cost being so high. The fact that we can get out multiple Digimon in a turn and potentially, you know, suspend Pomumon with the effect to suspend opponent's Digimon, Digivolve for free, swing into something. Seems like it's a no-brainer. But one option that I think is kind of Christmassy, specifically with one particular art, is Samadhi Santi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but Shivamon just looks like he's like a tree topper on this art. Like, he literally looks like you just put him on top of the tree, and that's where he would want to be. So I'm not going to take any points away for running 3 of these. Last options that we're going to run is just the 2 agility trainings, and they're just kind of too good to pass up. I love the fact that if you play one of these and you see another one, you just grab that one and play another one and search again. Yes, it's a more refined search than, say, the green memory boost, but at the same time, Digivolving for cheaper is just a really good move in green in general. I forgot to calculate the points before I started recording this, so here's what I scored. Ooh, that's good, I think. Give me up to a +10 or a -10. We'll take the totals of all of those and then give a final score. I should do that for the decks that I put in the spooky list, but I'm going to do that when I actually have enough decks for the Trash Tier tournament. We're pretty close to that, so if you have an interesting deck, Christmas themed or not, pop it in the comments. I'm not going to do the teams form because I feel like that's taking you away from this video and you're like, oh, I've got the idea, let me just paste it here. Put it here, just put down the list, I'll have a look at it, and yeah, it might be one that I pick. We did only get 1 submission for the decks from the Recycle Bin Spoopy Edition. Somebody submitted lists after I recorded this video, so now I feel stupid. And that was from Sahil B, who cleverly didn't write his last name because I probably butchered it last time. Sorry, man. I really didn't mean to do that. Don't you fucking dare. He's trying to knock over the camera. Sahil submitted a Mumukusmon list, and I actually like some of the changes that he made in comparison to what I put in the list. And we'll look at this with the new rules that I've set for this episode. He put in the Skull Satamons, which do Digivolve into Mumukusmon, not into Ornusmon. I'm not going to take any points off for putting Ornusmon in the list because it's rad. Additionally, he included Dobemons and Alice because you'd be able to trigger off the Mumukusmon effect more easily with Alice, and you can play out the Domon, get some stuff back that you actually need. There's a few really intelligent choices, especially with Analog Youth being put in the list. Definitely something that I'd consider, but I just didn't choose for my own. With the new rules, Sahil scores a 78 with this list. I think that's better already than what I scored with mine, and I'll give him a +5 because I like the list. Let's put him to 83 points. Thanks for submitting. I appreciate anybody who submits a list because that's going the extra mile. And thank you to anybody this year who watched any of my videos, who left a like or a comment. Thank you so much because I just wanted to make something this year. I was in a routine of just working and playing games, and I wanted to make something. So thank you for helping me make something, and to bring it to so many people is wild. Looking to the new year, I'm gonna continue to make stuff because I want to, because it's fun. Yeah, sometimes it gets a bit stressful and sometimes I miss uploads and that feels bad, but I'm gonna keep trying to make stuff, and I hope that you stick around for more. So, Merry Christmas from TheSqueakyMoose, and if I don't see you before the new year because I'm chilling out, Have a happy new year. See you next time. Hal also says Merry Christmas. He just looks like a grump. If I could feel it so late.